The worst thing we have to say about the Xbox version of Street Fighter Anniversary Collection is that it's arriving on these shores later than we would have liked. The PlayStation 2 version of the game shipped last summer, and Street Fighter fans had no alternative but to play it. However, that earlier version lacked one key feature that will make the otherwise identical soon-to-be-released Xbox version worth getting. And it'll be worth getting even for those who've already picked up the PS2 release. We're talking about the ability to play online. Frankly, the name Street Fighter Anniversary Collection is rather misleading. The Street Fighter II series inspired the fighting game genre as we know it and deserves some sort of lavish anniversary kind of celebration. But instead, this is a pretty bare-bones package. Don't get me wrong, the game faithfully delivers the classic gameplay that defined and redefined the fighting game genre, but it would have been nice if Capcom had taken the extra time to add more substance to the Xbox version of Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. However, we're not going to complain for two reasons. First, there's the online play thing, and second, given that major publishers are averse to 2D gaming these days, we'll take whatever we can get. The Street Fighter Anniversary Collection contains two games. One is called Hyper Street Fighter II The Anniversary Edition, which is based on 1994's Super Street Fighter II Turbo, but also features alternate versions of all the classic characters. It sports a rather badly remixed soundtrack, but thankfully you have the option to listen to the original SF2 tunes instead. The second game in the compilation is 1999's Street Fighter III Third Strike. Third Strike is the last iteration in Capcom's attempt to follow up the legendary Street Fighter II's success. Although Street Fighter III failed to live up to the previous game's nigh unattainable standards, Third Strike actually fulfilled a lot of Street Fighter III's untapped potential and remains an attractive and complex and interesting fighting game even by today's high standards. The online play works great, and even though the computer opponents in both games present a hefty challenge, there's nothing like playing against a human opponent in these games. Don't expect the sophistication of Dead or Alive Ultimate's virtual arcade system when online, but do expect the standard suite of Xbox Live features. One nice touch is that it's possible to see how many open matches are available at any given time. Considering this is going to be a niche game and that its relatively small audience will be split between the two different titles contained in the collection, it'll be helpful to know just how much competition is available. The game's technical elements have held up surprisingly well. Sharp and colorful graphics and great animation and the memorable character designs from the series highlight both games, and there's plenty of catchy music too. Those unaccustomed to playing 2D fighting games on the Xbox may need some time to get a feel for the control scheme, but the controls themselves are responsive, and both the big and small versions of the Xbox controller sport 6 face buttons that map nicely to the classic Street Fighter II button scheme, so you won't need to worry about using the shoulder buttons while you play. The Street Fighter series is a real classic. We've never met a Street Fighter II fan who's gotten bored of it. So if you have memories of playing these games at the arcades or at your friend's house or in a dorm room, then we challenge you to take just one look at our new screens or the videos of Street Fighter Anniversary Collection for the Xbox, and chances are you'll end up eager to start practicing all over again. In fact, in many ways, this is the Street Fighter II game that fans have been waiting for ages. Arcades may be pretty much dead, but with Street Fighter II Anniversary Collection for the Xbox, you can relive the arcade experience at home, minus the cigarette burns above the start buttons.